Hey guys, when you have an old barn like this, one of the things that you have to contend with is mice. And we had a lot of mice here. We're gonna show you today exactly how we took care of that and the best way to get rid of them. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, The Purpose Driven Homestead. Now, today is probably gonna be a little shorter video, but I did wanna show you something that I think a lot of people have to contend with when you're talking about using old barns or even just having a farm in general, and that is mice. Now, in our case, we have this pack house, and it's called a pack house because years ago, this would have been where they took and brought the tobacco in from the tobacco farm that was done here on this property, and it would have been then packed in a metal ring and stored and taken off to the sale and that kind of stuff. So this pack house is where that was done. Actually, just above me, there's a floor where they still have all of that stuff kind of set up. Down here, there's also bays where you could put equipment, things that you would have been using for the mules. There's actually a mule stable still here as well. But this would have been where all of the old equipment for the smaller tractors back in the day that would have been used on small farms like this would have been stored. We still have some of that equipment stored in here, but it's mainly a storage area. Now, if you've watched some of our other videos before, you know that we have been working on our pastures and getting pastures established. We did that in the fall, and it's really starting to take off now. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it above and also drop it in the description below. But we've been working on that, and we had some seed left over, and we didn't want to waste it, and so we stored it over here in the pack house. And one of them was fescue seed, and the bag was open. It was fescue. It was Kentucky 31. And we had some of that open. The bag tipped over during a bad windstorm. I didn't notice it right away. And the mice found all the seeds, and they kind of then just started kind of exploding in population because now that there's a food source, there's obviously shelter here. So it was just a really nice combination. So we need to get rid of these mice. Now, one of the things we try to do is we are trying not to use pesticides on the farm. We don't use them at all in our garden, but we also try not to use them. I'm not going to tell you we don't ever use them. We do have a few bait traps set up around in different key areas outside, but generally speaking, we don't like to use pesticides or poison for rats, mice, that kind of stuff. Sometimes you have to, and so, you know, we get that. But in our case, we wanted to find another methodology for doing that. Now, I'm sure all of you are familiar with these types of traps. Now, these are your traditional traps, just an updated version. The wooden ones are what you're probably familiar to seeing, but it's the same concept. Spring loaded in here, this thing is set up so that when the mouse triggers it, that ends the mouse. They work very well, but there's a real key problem to these, and that is once it goes one time, that's it. You've got to come back. The mice that are still around, especially if you have quite a few of them, like in this case in barn mice, you need something that's not going to be just set up. This then just kind of becomes a paperweight because once it catches one mouse, it's done. It doesn't reset itself. Now you have to come back out, rebait it, and if the bait's exposed, the other mice will just come around and eat it. So it's not really a viable option unless it's in a space where you only have one or two mice. A home would be a great example of where this would work well, but in a barn setting like this, you really need something that can kind of continuously catch mice. That's where this comes in. Now, the part that I really like about this trap is that it is an automatic resetting trap. So you don't have to keep coming out here constantly to reset it or to rebait it. This thing does it all on its own. Now, the way this works is you can either fill it about halfway up with water or maybe a quarter of a way up with water, or you don't have to fill it up at all if you want to leave it as a live trap. I'm not going to do that, but if you wanted to use this as a live trap, you catch the mice, then go deposit them somewhere else on your property. The problem with that is, in most places, it's illegal to go take mice, squirrels, or anything else that you trap and set them out somewhere else. In many places, there's wildlife regulations that prevent that. And so lethal traps are typically the way to go with these, but if you want to go a different route, this will actually allow you that option. Now, this thing is super simple in how it works. You've got a bucket that's attached here, and like I said, you can fill it up with water, or you can leave it dry if you'd like. Some of them come with a ramp. I like to put a piece of wood here, just something that is a little bit more natural and that the mice aren't as timid about. You can do it either way. If it comes with a ramp, then you can use that, or you can just use any old piece of wood. that you want, something that'll bring them up to the side. Now the top section is one piece, so this yellow piece all around is just one section. It actually snaps on to the side of any standard bucket, either like a food grade bucket like this one, or a Lowe's, Home Depot, Harbor Freight, whatever place is near you. If they have buckets, it'll snap on and it fits in just like that, and there's snaps all around on each side. Now here's where the action part, this is the money maker right here. So this part tips, and because it tips, the mice will actually crawl out onto here. Now the bait is underneath here, and what happens is, and this is just pollen from all the pollen around here, what happens is this thing is perfectly balanced, and as they move out, it tips, and it tips very quickly, and they're not able to regain their balance, and it slides them right into the bucket. And if you want to keep them live, you can then dispose of them in a safe place where they won't get back into your barns or into your house. Or if there's water in there, then that's the end of the mouse. Now you can use all kinds of things to bait this trap with. You can use Tomcat, which they make a type of attractant. I've had limited success with this attractant. I've had a little bit of success when it comes to just the regular mouse traps, like the white one I showed you earlier. If you put a dollop on that, it does seem to attract them. I don't see that it does any better though than say peanut butter or cheese or anything else. Now for this particular trap, I actually think peanut butter works the best. You can't use cheese on it. There's no way to attach it. What you have to do is you have to go up on the back side of the trap, and on the underside where the mice want to get to it, you have to put a little bit of peanut butter, and the smell attracts them and it wants to pull them towards the back of that trap door. The trap door then falls in with them on it as they're trying to get to the peanut butter that's at the very back. The reason I say peanut butter is because peanut butter is sticky and it will kind of dry out but still have that same appearance and smell to it. Now it does tend to get a little moldy, and you'll see that on our trap as well. The peanut butter can mold some, so occasionally we'll wash it off, but the mice really don't care about that. They just like the smell of the peanut butter. Now you can see that we have some peanut butter here kind of smeared around. You can kind of see how it looks before. Like I said, it does tend to get a little crusty and a little moldy if it sits out here for very long. The sad part is peanut butter lasts a lot longer without getting moldy than you think it should. So what does that tell you about the peanut butter itself, right? Probably not great for us. But if you put the peanut butter on there, make sure you put it all the way up so this thing is flipped over that way. You want to put it all at the very end down here. That's where the bait goes. But I have found that putting a little bit right in here, and this is actually that Tomcat bait stuff, that gel that I was talking about earlier. I've laid that in here as well, but I put a little bit just towards the front here so that it kind of pulls them towards the back. Now what you don't want to do is you don't want to put any bait on this. What will happen is if you put bait towards the end of it down here, which fits in there nicely, and you think, oh, well, this will attract them even more. The problem with putting bait on this is it gets the equilibrium off. And so then it wants to kind of tilt forward a little bit. The mice see that it's a trap, and it won't attract any mice to it. And so don't put anything on this, and that will help you catch more mice. Now you don't have to take my word for it. I'm gonna show you some footage of exactly how this thing works. But before I do, there's probably a few of you who are wondering, what's the name of this trap? Where do I get it? I'm gonna link all that in the description below. There's gonna be a link down there that you can click on. It'll take you directly to the one that we've got and that we've been using. If you buy through our link, guys, it does help the channel, help support us a little bit. So please consider doing that. Consider buying through that link if you're gonna buy it. So this is just a way for us guys to show you how we've been trying to manage this problem on our farm. Now, how I got this footage, guys, is I took a trail cam that we had and I actually set it up on a little bucket, kind of inverted bucket, and showed that. If you want to see this trail cam as well, I'll also link it down below. It's actually pretty good. It's battery powered. It's not rechargeable. That is one thing that I probably would change about it. But as far as an economical trail cam that we can kind of video things with, that's out and about around the farm to see what's going on, this thing works pretty good. It came in a 2-pack. So that's what I'm going to show you now is the footage off of this trail cam. Now the other thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to clean up all of this grass seed as well, because we're going to have to get rid of the mice to start off with. So as long as we keep feeding them, they'll keep coming back. But that's not what I've got to do. But I wanted to start trying to get rid of them with this bucket trap. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, give it a thumbs up. Also, consider subscribing to our channel. Hopefully this helps you today. If you have a mice problem in your barn, this is something that continuously traps these things, right? And so that is the really awesome part about that. You can catch 4, 5, 8, 10 a night, maybe even more depending on how many mice you have. And it's really easy because it resets itself. And with that, guys, we hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you next time on the Purpose Driven Homestead.